That's beautiful out through there. See all the leaves out there starting to change. Up and up we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. But I'll be glad when I'm up there. I made it this whole way without getting too dirty. Just stepped on a rock crossing this little wet spot. Splashed mud all over my pant leg. Oh gosh. Oh, here's a beautiful sign. State Park, 2 miles. We're almost there. Everybody, welcome to Vista Ventures. I'm Caleb and thanks for joining me. Today I'm up in Parker Dam State Park here in Moshannon State Forest here in Pennsylvania, and I'm going to be doing the Quehanna Trail. The Quehanna Trail is a 71-mile loop trail. It kind of goes through Moshannon State Forest and Elk State Forest. I've done this trail once before back in 2016, but I'm looking forward to getting out and doing it again here in peak fall conditions here because the leaves are changing. It's a crisp Friday morning here, so let's get on the trail and start our adventure. So I'm starting out here from the main trailhead at Parker Dam State Park. They do ask that you sign in at the park office if you're going to be camping overnight on the trail, just so they can kind of keep account of who's out there, and in case something would happen, they have you put down some emergency contact information and that sort of a thing. So that's really nice, and they were very helpful. Provided me with some maps and stuff, so that was great. And there's all manner of parking down here at this trailhead, so that's nice. So it's Friday, October 2nd. Temperatures in the low 40s here, and I'm really excited driving up, seeing all the leaves and everything changing. And I'll be catching the tail end of the elk rut here in Pennsylvania. So I know from some folks that got cabins and stuff up in this region that the elk are apparently bugling pretty good right now, so I'm really looking forward to that and hoping I get a chance to see a couple elk on this trip. This is also going to be my first multi-day solo trip. Every solo trip I've done so far has just been all overnight, so I'll be really interested to see how this goes. Not gonna lie, I'm definitely a little bit anxious to get out for multiple days by myself, but feel like there's going to be a fair number of people out on the trail. I know last Saturday I was up on the Sailor Trail, and there were a whole bunch of people up there just getting out and enjoying the fall weather, so I'm sure I won't have too much solitude out here. First little view of the morning, just this gas line here, and there's this nice little stream running right through the middle of it. That's a good sign, because that was one of the things I was worried about on this trip. It's kind of been a severe drought up in this area all summer, so I was kind of worried what the water sources are going to be like, but they did get some rain this week, so hopefully that sets me up that I don't have to fret too much about having water available. So my pack weight for this trip is about 30 pounds, and my base weight's probably about 17, and that's counting all my camera gear and everything. So I'm pretty excited about that, because the last time I did this trail my pack weight was about 44 pounds, so I'm saving 13 pounds, almost cut her in half, so that should certainly make it much more enjoyable. The temperature for this trip is going to be pretty cool and almost identical every day I'm going to be out here. The high is supposed to be about 57, then the low at nights in the mid to upper 30s to the low 40s. So we won't have a whole lot of temperature fluctuation on this trip, but being in the 50s kind of during the day is pretty ideal in terms of hiking weather. Just nice and cool. I am going to try to complete this trail in 3.5 days, which will be shaving off a whole day from the last time Dave and I did this trail back in 2016. But got a lot lighter gear now and a lot more experienced, more confident in the amount of miles I can push. So the terrain on this trail is fairly mild for the most part, so I don't see that being too big of an issue. Here's a pretty neat beaver dam. See, they got it all dammed up right there. Stream goes down there, and they got it all backed up the whole way back through here. Just got here to another sign. This looks like this is the intersection with the West Cross connector. It says 15.1 miles to Parker Dam. So if you wanted to do that West Cross connector, you just head that way. But we're keeping on the Quehanna. Looks like to Knobs Road, 6.4 miles. Making pretty good time this morning. Alright, I'm about 5.5 or so miles in. Just gonna stop and take my morning break. Looks like there is a small established campsite right over here. Yeah, there's a small fire ring over there. This would be a really pretty spot. Nice stream. With as dry as it's still flowing, so that's certainly a good sign. I'd say you could definitely make that site work for both tents and hammocks. Right in here would be a really nice stealth site. All kinds of options for hammocks. Right in here would be a pretty nice little pad for a tent. And you could also squeeze a couple tents back in there. And you've got this beautiful stream right over here. There's a water source. I'm here about mile 9. Here's another little campsite. Not real big, but you could make this work. Probably right here would be a decent spot for a tent. Maybe back in there you could make another one work. And then you could do some hammock action right in there. Then there's a nice stream right here for a water source. Another real nice spot. Alright, I just stopped and had some lunch here at this bridge. Made a nice place to sit. So I got lunch in me, got a couple liters of water filtered there. It's just past 1 o'clock. So now we're ready to keep on hammering down the Quehanna. Got done climbing the biggest hill of the day so far. It was still pretty mild. Looked off here to the left and here's this beautiful vista. Nothing beats getting to the top of a climb and being rewarded with a vista. It's definitely my favorite. Another small little site here about the 13-mile mark. And there is a water source directly behind me, so the site would have water. I'd say this one's more of a tent site. Hammocking in here would be fairly tough. Here at about mile 13.6, there's another little campsite here. This one you could easily make work with hammocks, and you could probably squeeze a tent or two in there. Now there is the road is right over there, but I doubt that it's super busy, so I don't think that would be that big of an issue if you needed to camp here. Alright guys, it's just past 3 o'clock. I'm at about the 14-mile mark for the day, which is pretty good. Figure I got about between 3.5 and 4 miles to where I want to camp tonight. Just kind of up on this plateau right now. Here in a minute I'm going to drop down into this, I guess it was like an old log splash dam, and then just kind of follow this stream down there for a little ways, and then cut up the other side, and then I'll be at where I'm planning on camping shortly after that. Another campsite here, right across the bridge that crosses over there at that splash dam, about the 14.5 mile mark or so. Well, here's what you want to see. It's just this massive pine tree. This guy was here the last time I was here 4 years ago. But the difference between now and then, I'm glad they, looks like they cleaned out. There was a whole bunch of just like laurel and stuff in here. And Dave and I could barely crawl through this last time. So I'm definitely glad that they cleaned this out underneath. Because this would be a pretty big tree to tackle for the trail crews. Still following this run down from that splash dam. Here's a pretty decent campsite in here. Nice big flat. Someone was clearly practicing some bushcraft. Real nice fire ring. And got some wood there. Yeah, this would be a real nice spot. You could easily make this work with both tents and hammocks. Alrighty guys, I just got loaded down with 4 liters of water from that source back behind me. Now, normally there is a really reliable water source up here at this campsite that I'm headed to, which is close to the 18-mile mark. But being as how dry it's been, I just don't want to risk it. And I don't have too far to go. I think it's like 2 miles or so. So then I know there's no more water after that point until like the 23-mile mark or so. So I just want to play it safe here. I can certainly handle carrying this little extra weight just for the insurance that I'm going to have water tonight. Just up from that water source down there is this really cool little rock outcropping. It's a pretty good ways down from up here. It's probably 25-foot drop. This is pretty neat. And down in there's where we were just at, filling up with water. Alright, let's keep on hammering. Here we are, home sweet home for the night. Got log chairs and everything. I'm excited. 18 miles for the day, not too shabby. Right on what I wanted to do. Oh, and look, there's water here. So I carried an extra 4 liters for nothing. Oh well, we'll just take that as extra conditioning work, I guess. Alright, let's get everything set up. Alrighty guys, probably noticed this is a different tarp than what I'm usually using. Finally broke down and got a Cuban fiber tarp. It was actually a early birthday present from my wife and in-laws, so shout out to them for sponsoring this piece of gear. I'm pretty excited about it. I've never had any experience with any sort of Cuban fiber shelter before. I went ahead and got the 12-foot version since I've got an 11-foot hammock. So far, I like it. Sets up pretty nice. So we'll see how she performs this trip. This is the first time I've had it out. And also this trip I'm using a different suspension. This is Dutchware's spider webbing, and then their cinch bugs. So I'm trying that out. I was using the like some UHMW like Dyneema straps that I was just tying like a Beckett hitch with, and they were just a little too fussy for me, so I'm gonna try these out and see how those perform as well. So multiple pieces of new gear to try out on this trip. Tonight on the menu I got this power rice blend. Never had this before. See how that goes. And then I'm just going to put a pack of salmon in with it. Oh boil, baby boil. Caleb's hungry. Alright, while my supper's cooking, let me go ahead and show you what we did today. Started here at Parker Dam State Park. Hiked the Quehanna the whole way out. Beyond the map, over to the backside, hike down. Where's that old log splash dam? And we are right in here, right where this little run comes in. So we're camped right there. Tomorrow morning I'm going to get up. I want to get up early and be on the trail right at daybreak, which is 7 o'clock. This is pretty easy hiking out through here. But then out along this section through here is pretty rough, if I remember correctly. Just a lot of rockiness and side hills, so that'll slow me down a good bit until I get down here to this Mosquito Creek. And then there's a decent climb up out of there. And then in here is all pretty easy walking for the most part until I cross over the Quehanna Highway. And then I don't think this is too bad. There's a little steep descent right here, and then another small ascent over there. But then other than that, it's pretty easy going. And where I would like to end up is over here at about mile marker 39 tomorrow. Love to make her down there to Wyckoff. That would put me in great position the next day to get up fairly early as well. Hike the trail on out. Drop down into this Sanders Draft, which is really beautiful. Climb up Porcupine Draft, which is kind of rough, but hopefully with the water being somewhat minimal on the trail, that'll make that a little bit easier to navigate. And then drop down back down into this hollow here. Climb back up out of there. Then cross over this Grant Trail there, and then drop down in right next to this Haystack Mountain. And I'd like to camp down in there. I know there's a stealth site in there that Dave and I used the last time we did this trail, and it was pretty nice. So I'd like to be able to get down in there the next day, and then that leaves me with a nice easy about 12 and a half miles back to the state park there where we got the truck parked right there. So that's the plan. So far we're holding to it. So hopefully I'm able to make her down to Wyckoff tomorrow and keep pace with the plan. Highly recommend this Power Blend Northside. It's pretty legit. It's got like all kinds of vegetables in there, and quinoa and like beans, now with the salmon in there. It's a heck of a meal. Alrighty guys, I got everything all packed up, getting ready for night. It's starting to cool off here pretty good, so I'm gonna just crawl in the hammock and just kind of hang out, listen to an audiobook or something. Today was a great day. Weather was great, nice and cool. It would chill you a little bit when you'd stop, but hiking it was like the perfect temperature. And then with the leaves and stuff changing, everything was just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm really looking forward to see what tomorrow holds. So that guys, good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning everybody. It's just after 7 o'clock. Got camp and everything packed up. Pleased to report it didn't get quite as cold last night as I was anticipating, so that was good. Actually slept real well. Then was able to get up and get camp packed up here in the dark and everything, so I'd be ready right here at first light to keep ripping down the trail. I think looks like I got about 22 miles today to make it to where I want to go, so I'll definitely need to keep the pace up all day today if I want to make her down there to Wyckoff by the end of the day. Alright, just got out here to this road, and this road actually is kind of the beginning of this Quehanna Trail, the east cross connector that you could use to make some pretty big loops. I used a section of this back in the spring to do the Wyckoff loop. So like I said, it's pretty nice that there's a bunch of these little cross connectors and little linking trails in here that you can make some smaller loops if you don't want to quite bite off the whole 71 miles. First view of the morning. That's a pretty nice one. Right in here is a pretty decent dry campsite. This is just up from those vistas. They're not back there more than a few hundred yards. So it'd be nice if you were camped here. You could go out and sit on that rock and just enjoy the sunrise. But this would definitely be more of a tent site. I mean, I guess you could go off in the woods there and make something stealth work for hammocks. But if you had a tent, this would be a pretty stellar site as long as you packed in some water. Well, made it here to Wildcat Rock. 3 wildcats shot from this rock by Geo A. Oswald from Conemaugh, November 20th, 1946. I have no idea what the significance of this is, or what the story is behind it. I'm assuming this guy shot some bobcats from here. Don't know what the story is behind it. If anybody knows, please let me know in the comments, because I would love to know the story behind why this warranted a monument. Here's another really nice vista, just across from a power line. It's probably one of the nicer ones I've seen so far. Yeah, this whole ridge we've been paralleling out along that's up above Mosquito Creek has just been loaded with views this morning. Now the trail dropped down off the top of the ridge and is now just kind of following out along on this shelf. It's been a little rocky and side hilly, but frankly not as bad as I remember. Alright, finally got done with that rocky side hilling. Really glad to be done with that. And right out here on the point of this ridge, right before we drop down Mosquito Creek, is another primitive campsite here. This would definitely be pretty much tents only. You'd have to really scavenge to make something work for a hammock, but if you wanted to lug water up from Mosquito Creek, this is certainly an option for you. Made her down to Mosquito Creek. The water's nice and low, so I'll be able to just ford right across without having to get my feet wet. Pretty excited about that. Okay, well, I noticed the trail started paralleling along, didn't just cross right there like it did before, so I was wondering what the heck was going on. So this is apparently like some sort of super ghetto bridge here that they got going across here from this tree that fell down. So I guess if the water was really high, this would be an option, but forget that. I'm just gonna go back and walk across the rocks. Yeah, I just walked right across these rocks right here. Much less dangerous. But now I gotta climb up over this. Yippee-ki-yay. Alright, it's just before 10 o'clock. Just stopped here taking a 5-minute break. Eating a snack, and then we'll keep on hammering. Took me a lot longer to get down here than I was expecting, so I'm gonna have to make up some time here on the rest of the trail. Up and up we go. Where we stop, nobody knows. But I'll be glad when I'm up there. It is about 10:45. I really thought I'd be making some better time than this, but this morning just took a little bit longer than I expected getting down there to Mosquito Creek. So I'm going to try to keep the pace up here and see how far I can get today. At least this Mohawk Trail here, it goes for I think about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, just like this with this road grade, so definitely be able to rip out through here pretty good. Alright, I'm about 1/2 mile from the Quehanna Highway out here, but I did want to point out there is a real nice campsite right here, right along this stream. So you'd have all kinds of water and everything. Great benches, nice and spacious in here. Be good for both tents and hammocks. This would be a real excellent spot if I didn't have a bunch more miles to do today. Alright, I just crossed over the Quehanna Highway. On the map's like 28.8 mile mark or so. There's a sign back there right as I crossed it said Wyckoff Road 9.7 miles. That's about 1.3 miles less than roughly what I was figuring at. So I hope that's correct. I certainly won't be mad about having to do a little less mileage today than I was planning on. Alright, I'm about 1/2 mile from where I crossed the Quehanna Highway back there. And there is a little primitive campsite here as well that you could make work with hammocks or tents. Now right now it's dry, but there is what looks like a spring here. It's probably in springtime or something when we're not in a severe drought. This campsite would have water as well, but you just want to factor that in depending on the time of year. Had a pretty good little climb coming up from that water source there where I filled up, but at least I'm rewarded with a pretty decent vista. You can see pretty well out through there. Always makes the climb that much more worthwhile when you get up here and have a view. And just right up from that other vista is this really nice one. That's beautiful out through there. See all the leaves out there starting to change. Stellar. Made it here to the site of Three Runs Fire Tower and Cabin, apparently built in 1923 and then removed in 1979. Here's the ruins of the cabin. Like she was built pretty well at one point, but not much left of it now. And right here next to the ruins of that fire tower and cabin is a nice little dry campsite. This would be really nice. Make this work with both hammocks and tents. Looks like this is easily accessible, so it would also make a good car camping spot. Three Springs Vista. It's pretty nice. Headed down over some more technical stuff here until I get down to this little hollow that's down here. Just dropped down over from that Three Springs Vista. There's another primitive site here. Looks like some old ruins back there. This would definitely be pretty much tent only. You have to go off into the woods looking for something for hammocks. But there is a really nice water source right here. Check this out. They got this awesome aqueduct deal set up from this springway up there. It just flows the whole way down through here. That's really neat. Alright, I just busted out of the woods on this real level section again. They did some fair amount of rerouting back in that section there by that Three Springs Vista after you drop down over. They used to just drop straight down to the hollow, and then you went up to the chute, this really thick stuff. I imagine that probably like kept washing out or something, so they routed up around it on both sides. It was pretty nice. Now I got some pretty level hiking here for probably about 2 miles. And I dropped down into Jerry Run. And on the other side of that's my last big ascent of the day that I gotta do. Then I'll just drop down to Wyckoff. So we're making pretty good time. It's about 3:30. So I'm pretty pleased with the day so far. I made her down to Jerry Run. It's not nearly as impressive as it was when I was here in the springtime. Water is down a good bit. But that's good. That should make it a little bit easier. You had to ford across it a couple times down here, and it was pretty difficult when it was that wet, so that should at least make that easier. Still headed down along Jerry Run. Now there is another little campsite here right across the stream. It's not real big. You could get maybe a 10 or 2 in there, and there's enough trees in there you could certainly make some hammocks work. It's right where this power line is on the map. Alright, got down to the end of where we leave Jerry Run. Now we just got to charge up this draft and then drop down on the other side to Wyckoff. Alright, made it up the climb from Jerry Run. Wasn't too bad. It was a little steep there in the beginning, but then it kind of levels out a little bit more toward the end. Walking out through this field, kind of bummed getting towards evening now. I was really hoping I'd catch some elk out here feeding, but no such luck. The search for elk continues. Now I just got a little bit more level hiking ahead of me. Then I'm gonna shoot down over to Wyckoff Run. If I remember right, it's a pretty rocky little descent. And once I get down there, I'm going to make an assessment of whether I'm going to stay there or if I'm just going to push up Laurel Draft and stay at the top of it. Kind of all depend on what the situation looks like down there as far as camping, and then how good I'm feeling by the time I get down there. So begins the descent down to Wyckoff. Alright, made her down here to Wyckoff Run Road. There is a site here, but it's not super great. I did see another one on up that hollow there. I'm sure I could head over there and make something work, but I got a little bit of daylight left. It's 5:30, so I'm just gonna charge down here, filter some water, and then head up Laurel Run. Here's a set of ruins as you're heading up Laurel Draft here. I had a subscriber comment and say that some of the ruins along the Quehanna Trail here from the earliest settlers in this area, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure which ruins those are, but that's still pretty neat. Still on the ascent here up Laurel Draft. So far it hasn't been too bad. They have this climb graded pretty good. About the time you're starting to get tired out, it'll level out for a little bit before picking back up. I will definitely be looking forward to getting up to the top of this climb and calling her quits for the day. Did a pile of miles. Here we are. Home sweet home. Oh, boy, that was a big day. I think it was like 23.5 miles, something like that. Jeez, man. All right, I got about 30 minutes till dark, so I need to get camp set up. All right, got camp all set up. Got some water going right now, warming up. Gonna take a little bath. That's gonna feel amazing. For those keeping score at home, the Laurel Run over here is in fact flowing, so I got plenty of water, so that's great. It was a heck of a day, I gotta tell you. Really went a lot further than I was expecting there when it was a little slow going there in the morning, but the miles picked up later in the day. So I'm gonna get bathed off here and get some supper in me, and then just chill out for a little bit, because I think I earned it today. All right, for dinner tonight I got this Monterey pepper jack instant mashed potato, and then I've got some buffalo chicken that I rehydrated. This is a pretty stellar meal, I gotta say. Really, really excited to get this in me. Alrighty guys, it's about 8:30. Got supper and everything done, got packed up, everything's kind of organized, and I'm just chilling out in the hammock, listening to some podcasts here before bed. Today was a heck of a day. I think we did like 23.5 miles or something like that. Really big day, and even went about 1.8 or so further than I was expecting, so that was good. I'm glad I got that one extra climb out of the way for tomorrow. Now I was planning on doing a stealth camp down at like the 58.5 mile mark or so, but we'll just kind of see how tomorrow goes. If I get there and I've got plenty of time and it's not raining or anything, I might keep going. But if it looks like it's going to rain or something, then I might just call her an early day and not push quite so hard. So with that, guys, good night. I'll see you tomorrow. Good morning, everybody. It's about 6 o'clock. Just gonna get the breakfast going here and then get everything packed up, get on the trail here shortly after daylight, just like yesterday. Looks like the weather's calling for a 40% chance of rain or so around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. So we'll just kind of have to see how today goes on how much mileage I end up doing, but still should be able to rip off a pretty good section. about half drizzling on me here this morning. Checked the weather last night and it said 0% chance. Didn't go up to till 30% chance till about 4 o'clock. So I don't know what the deal is with this, but did learn a valuable lesson. Always pack the tarp up last. I was just sitting there, I was like, well, wait until daybreak. Like, I'll go ahead and get the tarp packed up. No more than I got it all wrapped up and it started drizzling. So I had to frantically pack up the rest of camp. Fortunately, it didn't rain real hard, just kind of drizzled a little bit, so it wasn't really a big deal, but certainly lesson learned there. Alright, we just made it out to Little Fork Vista here. It's a little overgrown, but you can see out through there. Fortunately, it's not all fogged in or nothing, so that's good. Always great starting the morning off with a vista. And right here behind that vista is a small little campsite. Fairly big. There's like a tent pad back there. Put a tent in there, hammock in there. You'd certainly make this work as long as you packed in some water. Brush is certainly a little wet this morning. Jeez, oh man. Glad these pants dry fast. Just made it out to this other large set of ruins here along the Quehanna. I'm not sure what the story is behind these, but fairly large establishment here. 2 buildings. Always neat seeing ruins like this out along the trail. This also makes for a pretty nice campsite here with tents and hammocks. And then right back there in those ferns is a pretty reliable spring. Now it's real dry right now, but there is still water in there despite how dry it's been. So you could certainly get water out of there as long as you had a scoop or something. Just started heading down towards Sanders Run here. Another small little campsite. Make work with tents and hammocks. And then right back there there's a small stream, so you definitely have water here as well. Well, it's been slow going down Sanders Run here. Just a lot of side hill and rocks, and it's been pretty thick in a lot of places, which was a nice touch with the fact all the foliage and stuff is wet from the rain this morning. But nevertheless, we're getting down here. Came across another campsite down here getting towards the bottom. Pretty nice flat spot back there for tents, and it looks like there's a couple trees back there you can make work for a hammock. There are a fair number of campsites as we get down here right towards the end. There's a couple of them sprinkled throughout. Right in here is a beautiful tent site down towards the bottom of this Sanders Run. A little fire ring here, chair, and right in there is the little tent pad that would work for you. This would be a beautiful spot right next to this awesome pool. Guys, it's 10:40. Just turned and starting my way up Porcupine Draft here. This is probably going to be the roughest section of trail for the day. It's pretty steep up here towards the top, but I think it should be a little bit easier than when I did this in the spring, because the water's down a lot. Like back there at Sanders Run, like that was really hard getting through in the springtime without getting your feet soaked, and I could just walk straight through there now. So I'm hoping that makes a bunch of the water crossings that occur up here on Porcupine just way easier, you know, help me keep my pace up so I can get up here to the top. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is just all nice and dry in here. I can just walk straight across. When I was coming up here in this spring, this took me forever. There's a whole bunch of these little crossings that were pretty deep. I had to navigate around, but today I can just fly straight up here. Alrighty guys, it's 11:45. It feels good to have that Porcupine Draft behind me. That should be the roughest ascent today for sure. So I got some pretty level hiking, I believe, for the next few miles here. So I'm going to try to get some of that knocked off, and then I'll go ahead and stop for lunch. Just getting out here to Beaver Run Vista. This is by far the nicest one I've seen today. Very nice. Alright, just made it down to Mix Run. It's about a half mile down here from that Vista up there. There is a campsite right here as you get to Mix Run. Be a real nice tent site. And then there's plenty of trees in here that you could easily make work for hammocks. Then the trail goes left, and we just start heading the whole way up along Mix Run before we pop out the top of this draft. With this Mix Run section just been loaded with blowdowns. That's probably about the 8th one I've had to navigate, and a big pain in the butt. Really slowing me down. So far they haven't been too terrible to get past. Let's hope that continues, or better yet, just stops. Alright, finally made it up out of that mixed run. That whole area down in there was pretty gnarly. Just really overgrown and a lot of blowdowns and stuff. I would highly advise against that section in the summertime, because I bet you that just gets super growed up and is almost impossible to get through. But now I'm back up on the level. I think I got a couple miles of level hiking here. I think I got another road crossing, and then I'm gonna drop down into this, I think it's like Silver Mine Run or something like that. So that'll bring me down to about the 58.5 mile mark. So we'll just kind of have to see what time it is when I get down there, as well as what the weather looks like, if I want to push any further or not. From there, the next campsite, which is I think just a stealth site, isn't until 63.5 miles. So I'd still have to push another 5 if I wanted to do more. So we'll just kind of see how it goes. Well, this descent coming down to the Silver Mine Run has been pretty brutal. Not real bad, but just constant downhill. And then the trail is pretty rocky, so you really got to pay attention to what you're doing. It's really taken a long time to get down here, but we're slowly making progress. Well, I just made a pretty big mistake heading down to that Silver Mine Run. It was got down where it leveled out a little bit, and then started coming up this hill a little, and I didn't think that it looked right down there. When Dave and I had stealthed down there before, I thought I needed to come on out the ridge a little ways, and then it would drop down towards that run again. Well, wrong-o. It just took me clean up away from it. It's hundreds of feet back down now, so rather than stealth down there like I was kind of planning to, now I guess I'm just gonna keep hauling butt and see how far I can make it till I get to the next place I can camp. It's 4 o'clock, and I know it's at least 5 miles until I get to another possible stealth site. I believe it's dry, so I'll have to take water up there, and it's after another big freaking climb. So, I guess it's all part of having an adventure. Made her back down here to the Quehanna Highway. I think it's the 60 mile mark. Should have 3.5 miles to go. Alrighty guys, I made it about a mile from the Quehanna Highway down there, and I kind of came out onto this flatter spot. Now there is a cabin over there and a road down there, but I'm fairly far from both. So I think I'm just going to make this work in here as a stealth site for tonight. These 2 trees right there I think are going to work pretty good. Rain's supposed to hit around 8 o'clock or so, so I just don't want to screw around trying to get out this road and up a hill, and I'm not sure what the camping's like up there, and try setting up in a rainstorm. So I think I'm just going to make this work for tonight. Alright, got camp all set up. Got the back pitched down low and the front up in porch mode. I think we're going to be in good shape for any rain that we see this evening. Got some food rehydrating there. I'm going to finish up the camp chores as best I can, and then sit down and have some supper. What a great stealth camp. I really couldn't be happier with how this worked out. I really didn't want to have to push those extra miles, especially with rain in the forecast. So now I'm just sitting back in the hammock, relaxing a little bit. Gonna have supper, listen to a podcast, just hang out. Alrighty guys, I got done eating supper. Just chilling out in the hammock. The rain's just starting to fall. So I think I'm just gonna relax here for a little while, then go to bed. Another full day today. That's good. That puts me, I think I only got about 10 miles tomorrow, so that'll be a good easy day. So with that guys, good night. I'll see you tomorrow for day 4.
Morning everybody. It's about 6:30. It didn't get real cool last night, which was good. Just kind of had a steady rain for several hours there, probably till about 2 in the morning or so. Nothing real exciting happened except for at one point as I was laying here thinking how nice it was to be warm and dry underneath this tarp, just listening to the rain pitter patter on the tarp. One of my tent stakes ripped out and the whole corner of the tarp flopped in on me. So I had to scramble out and get that stake put back in the ground, but fortunately I had my rain jacket and stuff already out, so it only took a couple minutes, so that wasn't too bad. I think I got about 10.5 miles out today, which shouldn't be real bad. I think there's one big ascent here coming up, but other than that I think today should be pretty mild, so I'm looking forward to getting this last 10.5 miles cranked out and finishing this trip off.
The trail starting out this morning has been pretty mild. Basically just followed this kind of old road grade that paralleled up along the side of the mountain up above this road that I'm on now, and it just kind of drops you down here. I think I got about a half mile of this road walk, and then I'm going to turn off to the right and head straight up this like 700-foot ascent. Looks super steep, so I'm sure that'll get the heart rate up this morning. All right, here we go. 700 feet to pay dirt, the last big obstacle of the Quehanna. Let's knock this hill out. All right, just as you start up this big climb here, there is a small campsite just off the road, and there's a small little stream coming down through there. Just make a real nice tent site, and it looks like right in here, certainly make a hammock work. I made it this whole way without getting too dirty. Just stepped on a rock crossing this little wet spot. Splashed mud all over my pant leg. Oh gosh. Alright, this would have pretty much been where I would have had to get to last night to stealth, other than that site right at the bottom of this big climb. I think I definitely made the right decision by camping where I did. Just saved myself a lot of rushing around trying to get camp set up. Somebody lost Lost an Nalgene bottle. Waterstone Outdoors New River Mountain Guides. Huh. Well, I'll take this and turn it in at the park office up there. Maybe someone will come back for it. Oh, here's a beautiful sign. State Park, 2 miles. We're almost there. Alrighty guys, I just popped out onto this Fairview Road. Means I only got about half a mile back to the truck. Feels really good to be able to say that almost done with a 71-mile solo trip. Really glad that I pushed myself to get out here on a big multi-day trip, just kind of expand my comfort zone. I gotta highly recommend the Quehanna Trail. It was just really beautiful, especially with the fall leaves and everything changing. Just a really diverse, landscape and a lot of different scenery and stuff that we walked through. If you guys have any specific questions about the Quehanna, just let me know in the comments and I'll answer you as best I can. As always guys, get outdoors, have fun, and embrace the uphill. Till next time, this is Vista Ventures.